Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball and NHL games as well as MLB spring training games and looking ahead to today's games, my latest mock bracket, the latest news and notes, and my best bet of the day. We're going to start with college basketball. Not a big slate last night, just a lot of mid-major, semifinals, quarterfinals, first-round games, etc. So, without further ado, here we go. Elon over Hofstra, 76-58 in the CAA semifinal. Cleveland State over Milwaukee, 71-65 in the Horizon League semifinal. That was my best bet. Oral Roberts over South Dakota, 90-88 in the Summit League semifinal. Ryder over Canisius, 78-76. App State over Georgia State, 80-73 in the Sun Belt final. UNC Greensboro over Mercer, 69-61 in the SoCon final. Number 1 Gonzaga over St. Mary's, 78-55 in the WCC semifinal. Drexel over Northeastern, 74-67 in the CAA semifinal. Oakland over Northern Kentucky, 69-58 in the Horizon League semifinal. North Dakota State over South Dakota, 79-75 in the Summer League semifinal. And BYU over Pepperdine, 82-77 in overtime in the WCC semifinal. All right, looking ahead to today's slate, it's not big, so it's similar to yesterday. 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on the ACC Network. ACC first round, Miami Pitt. I'm at Pitt 12, total 139. Meanwhile, on FanDuel, it is Pitt by 3, total 136. That's not right. It can't be 12. It can't be. It's 2. That's my bad. Sorry, guys. I had an error there. So 2 and 139. I have to go over 136 as my play here. It's no doubt. So over 136. 4:30 on the ACC Network, BC and Duke. I'm at Duke 13.5, total 150, and it's 13 and 153. I'm going to take the under. That is very, very high, especially with the team in Boston College. I just don't think is very good offensively. 5 o'clock, MAC first round, Iona Quinnipiac. I'm at Iona 7, total 141. Meanwhile, it is Iona by 6, and we don't have a total out yet. If it's anything higher than 142.5, I'm betting the under. And if it's anything lower than 139.5, I'm betting the over. Next up, Southland first round, McNeese, Southeast Louisiana. I'm at McNeese 1, total 148. Meanwhile, it's McNeese 2, total 145.5. I have to take in yet another over. Big West first round, Long Beach State and Cal State Northridge. I'm at Long Beach State by a half, total 150. Meanwhile, it's Cal State Northridge by 2, total 154. I have a nice edge on the under, and I also have an edge on Long Beach State. I'm going to go with the under. I don't feel really great about my projection because it's only a half in the other direction. So I'm going to go with the under 154 in Long Beach State and Cal State Northridge. CAA Final, 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. Alon Drexel, who would have thought it? Drexel 3, total 135.5 is my projection. Meanwhile, 3.5, 130.5. I have to go with yet another total, and I have to go with the over. I have a 5-point edge on the over. I do think Drexel will win, but I like the over 130.5. ACC first round, ACC Network. Wake and Notre Dame. I'm at Notre Dame 7.5, total 142. Meanwhile, it's 8.5, 143.5. So my numbers are pretty darn close. But my edge is on the under 143.5. I'm at 142. Northeast Final, ESPN 2, tonight, 7 o'clock, Mount St. Mary's and Bryant. I'm at Pick'em in 141, and it's 6.5 and 133.5. I have an edge on the over and an edge on Mount St. Mary's. For value perspective, I'm going to go Mount St. Mary's plus 6.5 at minus 106. The juice is on the over, so I'm going to go Mount St. Mary's instead. But my slim edge is the Bryant, because it came out Bryant 0.125. So I'm going to say Bryant wins, but Mount St. Mary's covers the 6.5. Horizon League Final, 7 o'clock ESPN. I'm at Cleveland State minus 13.5 over Oakland in the total 149. Meanwhile, it's 2 and 139. I'm laying it with Cleveland State again against Oakland. Cleveland State did me good yesterday, so I'm going to lay the 2 with Cleveland State. 7:30 MAC first round, Manhattan Fairfield. I'm at Fairfield 4, total 131. And it is Manhattan by 1.5. I'm taking Fairfield and the 1.5 and whatever the money line is. It's probably like around plus 115, plus 110, something like that. 8 o'clock, CUSA, first round, Southern Miss and Rice. I'm at Rice 5, total 140. And it's 4 and 141, so 1 point off in each direction. But for the podcast sake, I'll lay it with Rice. Florida International Middle Tennessee was canceled, so Middle Tennessee advances in virtue of FIU not participating due to COVID issues. 9 o'clock on ESPN2, the Summit League final. Oral Roberts and North Dakota State. I'm at North Dakota State by 3, total 147.5. And it's a pick'em in 146. I got to go North Dakota State money line minus 108. I can't believe this is a pick'em right now, so I'm going to lay minus 108 with North Dakota State. Southland first round, Houston Baptist and Incarnate Word. I'm at Incarnate Word 2.5, total 145. Well, it's Houston Baptist 1.5, total 143. I'm taking Incarnate Word plus 1.5 and plus 106 straight up. Big West first round, Cal Poly and Cal State Fullerton. I'm at Fullerton 10.5, total 142.5. Meanwhile, it's Fullerton 6 and 140.5. I'm laying the 6 with Fullerton. Cal Poly stinks. Notice how Fullerton's not good either, but they're better than Poly. And I think it should be a double-digit line. Last but not least, what I think is the game of the night, West Coast Conference Championship, the final. BYU, number 1, Gonzaga. I'm at Gonzaga 7.5, total 153.5. Meanwhile, it's Gonzaga 13.5, total 155. I got to take BYU plus the 14. This line just keeps going up. It was 13.5, now it's 14. Everybody just loves betting on Gonzaga. But BYU isn't terrible. Like, they're not as disappointing as St. Mary's is. And BYU, I don't even consider disappointment. I think BYU is going to the tournament regardless. Gonzaga, obviously, they're the number 1 overall seed, even if they lose this game. BYU can only help their seeding with a win here. I don't think they're going to win. I just think that this game will be a little bit closer than the experts think. So I'm going to go BYU plus the 14 at minus 106. So there you have it for college basketball for today. And now we'll move on to the NHL. We will go over the games from last night, and we will look ahead to today's games. Wild over the Golden Knights 2-0. The Wild 14-8-1. Vegas 16-5-1. The number 3 started game with 20 saves on 22 shots. Marc-Andre Fleury. The number 2 started game with the goal, Kevin Fiala. And the number 1 started game with 26 saves on 26 shots, Kaapo Kähkönen, his first career shutout. Oilers over the Senators 3-2. The Oilers 16-11-0. Ottawa 9-18-1. The number 3 started game with an assist, Cal Turris. Number 2 started game with 2 assists, Thomas Chabot. And the number 1 started the game with the goal, Alex Chiasson. Coyotes over the Avalanche 3-2. The Coyotes 12-10-3. Colorado 13-8-2. The go-ahead goal in this game was scored by Johan Larsson. Derek Brassard had a goal. Valeri Nichushkin had a goal. Mikko Rantanen had a good game as well. And Antti Ranta was had to replace Darcy Kemper, who had an injury in this game. Sharks over the Blues 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Evander Kane. Sharks 9-11-3. St. Louis 14-8-2. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Ryan Donato. Number 2 started game with 2 assists, Ryan O'Reilly. Number 1 started game with the overtime winner, Evander Kane. Canucks over the Canadiens 2-1 in the shootout. The Canucks 12-15-2. Montreal 11-6-7. Number 3 started game with an assist, Bo Horvat. Number 2 started game with 28 saves on 29 shots, Carey Price. The number 1 started game with 29 saves on 30 shots, Thatcher Demko. Ducks over the Kings 6-5 in overtime on a game winner by Adam Henrique. As the Ducks go to 8-12-6, LA 10-8-6. Number 3 started the game with the overtime winner and an assist, Adam Henrique. Number 3 started the game with a hat trick, Adrian Kempe. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals and an assist, Richard Raquel. All right, looking ahead to today's window. Big slate, 6 o'clock on NBCSN. Rangers-Penguins. That's very early for a Ranger-Penguin game, but NBCSN has a doubleheader tonight. And it's an odd doubleheader because of the timings. Pittsburgh's minus 164. Rangers are plus 138. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 110. Unders minus 134. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 205. And Penguins minus 1.5 is plus 168. This is a hard call. It's probably going to be Alexander Georgiev against Tristan Jarry. I'm going to go over 6.5 at plus 110. I like getting the over even at plus money here. I think this would be a 4-3 game either way, maybe even a 5-4 game. These two teams. I know the Rangers had a dud the other night, but they're on the second of a back-to-back. But so is Pittsburgh, but the Rangers are due for a stinker. I think their offense bounces back. I don't know if they'll win the game. So I'm going to go over 6.5 at plus 110 just to play it safe. 7 o'clock, Bruins-Islanders. The Bruins are minus 130. The Isles are plus 110. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 120. Unders minus 148. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 230. Islanders plus 1.5 is minus 285. I'm going Islanders plus 110. The Islanders are in first place, not the Bruins. Someone asked me why the Boston Bruins are getting so much respect in Vegas. I'm sorry. Islanders should be favored, and they're going to win the game and really stick it to the haters. Sabres-Flyers. The Flyers are minus 240. Buffalo's plus 198. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 124. Under is plus 102. Buffalo plus 1.5 is minus 148. Flyers minus 1.5 is plus 118. I'm going to like the puck line with the Flyers here at plus 118. Buffalo is just a mess at the time, and Jack Eichel obviously wants out. Devils-Capitals. The Capitals are minus 200. The Devils are plus 168. Over under 6.5. Under is minus 128. Over is plus 104. Caps minus 1.5 is plus 134. The Devils plus 1.5 is minus 162. This is a hard one. I'm going to go Capitals puck line at plus 134. I don't love this Devils team. I think the Capitals just could do for a good performance. I think that Vitek Vanchek's better than Mackenzie Blackwood, so I'm going to lay the 1.5 at plus 134. Predators, Hurricanes. The Canes are minus 210. The Preds are plus 176. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 134. Unders plus 110. Preds plus 1.5 is minus 160. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 132. I'm going to go under 5.5 at plus 110. Carolina, I think, is a good defensive team. And Nashville has just been underachieving this year, I know, but I think this could be 3-2 or 4-1. Panthers, Blue Jackets. The Panthers minus 136. Columbus is plus 116. 5.5 minus 105. Under minus 115. Blue Jackets plus 1.5 is minus 260. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 210. I'm going to go with the Blue Jackets straight up here. They're playing for their coach's job, and the front office gave John Tortorella the vote of confidence the other day, but sometimes that doesn't always work out. But I'm going to take the Blue Jackets as a plus 116 underdog at home. Jets, Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs are minus 184. The Jets are plus 154. Over under 6.5. Over is minus 108. Under is minus 112. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 116. Toronto minus 1.5 is plus 146. I'm going to go with Winnipeg on the road. Winnipeg did me well at Toronto recently. I think they'll do it again. So give me the Jets plus 164 straight up. 7:30 Lightning, Red Wings. The Red Wings are plus 290 underdogs. The Lightning are minus 360. Over under 5.5. Lightning minus 1.5 is minus 120. Red Wings plus 1.5 is even money. I'm going to go over 5.5 here. I think that the Lightning could get on a roll offensively here, and this could be a 3-2 game, and the empty net shoot goal is in play. So I'm going to go over 5.5 with Tampa and the Red Wings. And last but not least, 8:30 NBCSN Blackhawks Stars. The Stars are minus 136. The Blackhawks are plus 116. Over under 5.5. Over is plus 102. Unders minus 124. The Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 230. Stars minus 1.5 is plus 188. I'm going to go with the Blackhawks straight up plus 116. I know they have way more points than Dallas, but that's because Dallas has played a lot less games due to COVID issues and because of that storm that the Dallas metro area had about a month ago. I'm going to go with the Blackhawks as a dog here. I like underdogs. So give me the Blackhawks plus 116. I like their little defensive identity that they have. And I think that Jeremy Colton has saved his job this year. So give me the Blackhawks plus 116 straight up. Now I'll move on to spring training from yesterday. That was a short window. And we will look ahead to today's games. Marlins and Cardinals ended in a 7-7 tie. Nats over the Mets 9-5. Teams are starting to play 9-inning games now, which is good. Diamondbacks and Giants ended in a 2-2 tie. Evan Longoria homered in that game. Dodgers over the White Sox 8-0 in 7. Julio Urias the win. And Mike Wright the loss. Corey Seager homered in this game for the Dodgers. Royals over the A's 10-3 in 7. Brady Singer to win. Hunter Dozier homered, and Bobby Witt Jr., the highly touted prospect of the Royals, homered in this game. He had a 484-foot homer. Salvador Perez homered for the Royals in that game, too. Indians over the Mariners 10-0. Zach Plesac to win. Yusei Kikuchi to loss. Cubs over the Rangers 9-0 in 7. Zach Davies to win. And Kohei Ariara the loss. Javier Baez homered in this game. Brewers over the Angels 10-9 in 7. Justin Upton homered twice. Anthony Rendon homered for the Angels as well. And the Reds over the Rockies 6-4. There was a grand slam, or I'm sorry, a 3-run homer in this game by one of the Rockies relief pitchers and center fielders. He's a center fielder, but he's also a relief pitcher. That's pretty neat. Today's games, 1 o'clock, Yankees, Tigers, Orioles, Twins. Red Sox, Rays, Pirates, Braves, Phillies, Blue Jays, Cardinals, Mets, 3 o'clock, Indians, Rangers, A's, Cubs, Pods, White Sox, Rocks, D-backs, Royals, Mariners, Giants, Brewers, 6 o'clock, Nats, Stros, and 8 o'clock, Dodgers, Reds. All right, now we'll move on to my latest NCAA mock bracket. This was an interesting one to put together. The predictable number 1 seeds are the number 1 seeds, number 1 overall seed in the first region, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, number 2 overall seed in the number 2 region, the Baylor Bears, the number 3 overall seed in the number 3 region, the Michigan Wolverines, and the number 4 overall seed and the 1 seed in the 4th bracket, the Illinois Fighting Illini. And now I'm just going to go through the seed numbers and then go in order from regions 1 to 4. Houston, Iowa, Alabama, Virginia. So they're your 2 seeds. And Houston's in the 1 region. Iowa's in the 2. Alabama's in the 3. And Virginia is in the 4. So your 3 seeds. Ohio State, Florida State, Villanova, West Virginia. 4 seeds. Purdue, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma State. The 5 seeds. Texas, Georgia Tech, USC, Creighton. The 6 seeds. Texas Tech, San Diego State, Virginia Tech, Colorado. The 7 seeds, Oklahoma, Oregon, Clemson, Wisconsin. 8 seeds, Loyola, Chicago, BYU, UConn, Tennessee. The 9 seeds, Wichita State, St. Bonaventure, LSU, Louisville. The 10 seeds, North Carolina, Utah State, Colorado State, Florida. 11 seeds, UCLA, SMU, Rutgers, VCU. 12 seeds, play-in match, Boise State, Syracuse. And the other one, Michigan State and St. John's. And then the other 2 12 seeds in the 3rd region, Winthrop, in the 4th region, UNC Greensboro. 13 seeds, Liberty, Toledo, Western Kentucky, and UC Santa Barbara. 14 seeds, Eastern Washington, Morehead State, Grand Canyon, Cleveland State. 15 seeds, Colgate, North Dakota State, Appalachian State, Abilene Christian. And the 16 seeds, Hartford, Drexel. And then the play-ins, Siena and Bryant, and Prairie View, and NCA&T. So there you have it, my latest NCAA mock bracket. I will have another one maybe tomorrow, if not definitely by Thursday. And then we have to do on Friday. And then Sunday morning, I may or may not be doing a podcast to project my final brackets in case certain teams win their conference championship games. I think I did that on the podcast a couple of years ago, so I'm going to try to do that again. Now the latest news and notes for the day. The big news that broke yesterday is that the Dallas Cowboys have re-signed quarterback Dak Prescott to a 4-year, $160 million contract. That was a signing that had to get done by the Dallas Cowboys. You just can't afford to lose an asset for nothing if you can't place the franchise tag on him. So Prescott's making $40 million a year, which is the second most annual average behind Patrick Mahomes. I know he's overpaid now, but the reality is if you have a franchise quarterback, you gotta pay him. And Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback. And if he didn't get hurt last year, the Cowboys would have probably been in the postseason and probably would have lost to the Buccaneers in the first round, because I think that they would have been the 4th seed in the NFC playoffs and then would have lost to the Bucs. If not, maybe could have potentially beaten the Bucs if a couple things were to break right. Because let's face it, Washington hung in that game with Taylor Heineke against the Bucs. Dallas with Prescott, I think could have been a shootout with Brady and the Bucs. You never know what could have happened. But yeah, the Cowboys, to me, have to improve their defense, or else heck, they might not even win their division. Because Washington is a quarterback upgrade away and a couple receiver upgrades away. I think the Giants are a couple upgrades away, and I think the Eagles, are not as great as people may think, because I still question Jalen Hurts' ability to be a franchise quarterback. So the Cowboys had to get it done, and now they have to improve their defense in order to make themselves a Super Bowl contender before the season. A college football coach came out and said that Zach Wilson's talent reminds him a lot of Russell Wilson and some of Mahomes. I need to see it to believe it. Zach Wilson, a lot of people love him. I'm not the biggest fan. He's my QB3 coming into the draft behind Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. But everybody just loves this kid. Loves him. But people are just making him out to be this great player. I need to see it to believe it. He's coming off one great season. But let's move on. A trade in the NFL happened this morning. The New England Patriots acquired Trent Brown from the Las Vegas Raiders. So Trent Brown back on New England. The Raiders get a 2022 fifth-round pick. And the Patriots also get a 2022 seventh-round pick. And they restructured his contract 1 year, $11 million, the Patriots did. So I think this is a good addition for New England. I think that Trent Brown could redeem himself a little bit after being a disappointment with the Raiders, as many people thought. Everyone thought he was the next, who's the guy on the Giants? Nate Solder. And yeah, they're right. He's another Nate Solder. A free agent flop because of that contract he was given. And now the Raiders just give him away, and they only get a fifth rounder in return. I think that's a great deal for New England. Free agent defensive tackle Gerald Mccoy would love to return to the Bucs, and he says he's worked out his issues with Tampa and always wanted to experience winning there. Obviously, he was a big part of their Super Bowl winning team this past season. I think that McCoy will has a chance to end up back there. We shall see. Ryan Fitzpatrick wants to continue to play despite retirement rumors. I think that there's a team that has questions at quarterback. I think could sign him. Maybe whomever drafts Zach Wilson will sign him, or Justin Fields. I I think that there's a chance like New England, Washington. If he was Washington's quarterback, then with a couple receiver upgrades, I think that could be a division winner. So we'll see where Fitzmagic wants to go. Names on the trade block. Stephon Gilmore, we talked about Zach Ertz yesterday, and Kawan Alexander. And there are many, many other guys on the trade block. Kansas and Les Miles mutually agreed to part ways last night, and it was effective immediately. This should come to no surprise. I called it on the podcast last week. LSU, there's allegations there, and it was very serious, and Les is in trouble, and I don't think he's going to coach in college football again. But then again, I said the same thing about Hugh Freeze, and now Hugh Freeze is coaching Liberty and having nice success. And now the question is, who will Kansas bring in? I think that there are some candidates that they will look at, but we'll get into more of that on the podcast tomorrow. The Tennessee Titans have traded Isaiah Wilson, who was their 2020 first-round pick, to the Miami Dolphins, and then the team swapped seventh-rounders, a 2022 7th-rounder to Miami and the 2021 7th-rounder to Tennessee. I think this could be potentially a steal for Miami. A low-risk, high-reward type of situation. Isaiah Wilson barely played for the Titans last year, and he was unhappy. But when he played, he wasn't good. Maybe he has a chance to turn his career around in Miami. I think Miami's really going for it here. I think that this is the likely destination for Deshaun Watson, as I mentioned several times on the podcast. The New York Football Giants are expected to franchise tag Leonard Williams as both sides continue to work towards a long-term deal. I think that the Giants had to do this. Leonard Williams is coming off a career year. And my only question is, if the Giants pay him, will he be a flop in terms of the contract? That's my only fear, because I've seen guys sign big deals and end up being disappointments to the point where teams have to cut him after 1 year. And we've seen that already in this offseason with Kyle Van Noy, and we've seen it with other teams as well. So the Giants have to be careful here and make sure they don't overpay Leonard Williams if they decide to pay him. I did this yesterday on the Big East podcast. Greg McDermott is no longer suspended as the school lifts his suspension after he apologized for the plantation analogy. So, I think that Greg McDermott being back will help Creighton in their chances in the Big East tournament. He's a good coach. He just made a mistake. He owned up to it and apologized, and he's back. And Creighton will move forward, and this will no longer be a distraction. WNBA news. Latoya Sanders is retiring. The Mystics forward announced that she will retire and plans to join the organization in player development. She had a really good career. Congratulations to Latoya Sanders. Next time we have Jeff Maglicetti on the podcast, we'll certainly talk about Latoya Sanders. The New York Mets and Francisco Lindor are beginning extension talks, as they are expected to talk this week. The Mets have to get this done, or else if they don't get it done, it's an abject failure of a trade. I'm sorry. You don't acquire a superstar player and don't sign him to an extension or re-sign him. I'm sorry. And the Mets will be heavily mocked if this doesn't come through, because this is reminiscent of Dwight Howard getting traded to the Lakers and then walking away in free agency. You don't want that to happen if you're the Mets. And I think that they'll get it done, because this front office seems much more competent than the previous one. The Golden State Warriors are eyeing Victor Oladipo in a trade, as the team wants to acquire another ball handler. I think that this is probably a 1-year stopgap for before Klay Thompson comes back. And maybe they potentially re-sign him and then they trade him in the next season. So that's the case for them requiring Oladipo just to have another asset, a la D'Angelo Russell from a couple of years ago. But I don't really love the fit of Oladipo on that team. I think Oladipo would fit on the Knicks. I think that some other teams would be good fits for him. But I don't love the fit with him in Golden State because that is Stephen Curry's team. But Oladipo as the number 2 on that team for this season would be somewhat enticing. But we'll see what happens with Victor Oladipo. Breaking news, Zach Britton of the New York Yankees is getting an MRI on his elbow. That is not good news. MRI on elbow. Oof, if he is out for some significant time, then the Yankees need to get another bullpen arm. That is not good. MRI on elbow. You don't want to hear pitcher and elbow in the same sentence because that could very well mean the dreaded 3 letters of TJS, a.k.a. Tommy John surgery. So hopefully it comes back negative and Zach Britton's fight. He just would probably have to miss some time in spring training. I think that if I'm the Yankees, I don't pitch Zach Britton for the rest of spring training and let that heal up, assuming that comes back negative. Some good news. The NBA says no players, coaches, or game officials tested positive for COVID-19 while in Atlanta for the All-Star game. That is great news. You were hoping for some good news, especially after Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were in Atlanta, and they got word that their barber tested positive and they were in close contact with him. And luckily Simmons and Embiid were negative, but they just have to miss some time before they come back. Maybe the first few games of the Sixers' second half that they're going to unfortunately miss. Which is big for the Sixers because that could be the difference in the 1 seed. And let's face it, that could cost Joel Embiid MVP. This little quarantine for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid could cost the Sixers the 1 seed and Joel Embiid the MVP award. That is something that we're definitely going to look back on come May and see the Sixers are the 2 seed but finished 1 game back of Brooklyn. And then everyone's going to point to Embiid and Simmons in the COVID protocol because of their barber testing positive for COVID-19. And last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I'm going with Cleveland State again. I know Oakland is a better team than Milwaukee, but Oakland is not a good defensive team. They're literally allergic to defense. So I'm going to back up the same team I backed last night. It's up to 2.5 now. But I still like it as I project this line to be 13.5. I still like it. It's an 11-point edge, so I'm going to lay it with Cleveland State against Oakland. So there you have it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the college basketball conference tournament games and looking ahead to what should be a busy slate for tomorrow. Same for NHL and MLB spring training. Maybe another mock bracket, and then we're going to preview Season 5 of The Masked Singer, which begins tomorrow night. So that should be a lot of fun. And I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.